Jingle bells, Derek smells, Billy laid an egg.
Hello? What are you singing about?
Derek, it's the holiday season and I'm feeling it. Ho, ho, ho.
You're the hoe. What you are feeling is all the eggnog you've been drinking. I don't think that's on your diet journey.
Yep, well, you know what? That's what happens when you take a few days off.
Don't worry, bitches. Romaine might be merry and gay, very gay, right now, but we didn't forget your present. Enjoy this special holiday episode of Derek and Romaine.
La 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 la.
You're a la la la. Ho, ho, ho. Derek here along with Romaine, and today's holiday guest is our friend and fellow podcaster, Dennis Hensley, the host of the Dennis Anyone podcast. New episodes air on Tuesdays with your DNR Plus subscription. And of course, you can subscribe at dnrstudios.com, and you can check out Den himself all across the internet. DennisAnyone.net is the website for his show. He is Hensley Dennis in Twitter X, and Dennis C. Hensley. The C is for Christmas on Instagram. Dan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It is a delight to have you with us here now that the weather has turned cold for everyone except you, because you're in Southern California.
I know, right?
That's right.
I might be jealous of that nice
shorts
warm
and
weather.
a tank top. Shorts and a tank top and dripping sweat.
Is that how you spend every Christmas? Is in shorts and a tank top?
I think you can. You're starting to be able to, yeah. And I like a layered look, so I'm not thrilled with this global warming thing.
A tank top with a scarf?
Yeah, maybe a nice. That's a look. I think I might try that this Christmas.
I used to make fun of those twinks that would wear tank tops and scarves, but I guess it'll come back.
Yeah, why not?
So, Dennis, it is the end of the year, beginning of a new year. Why don't you catch us up on how things have been going with the Dennis Anyone podcast?
Well, we've been having wonderful guests and really great conversations. And I have this wish list of people that I'm always trying to get. And then sometimes I get them. And I often will reach out randomly on one of the social medias and say, hey, would you like to do the podcast? And sometimes it happens. So I am really into it. And my guests are a lot of people that have sort of had their ups and downs in their work and their creativity and what they're up to. And I like to celebrate their resilience and hopefully inspire other people to hang in and do their thing. Because I think creative things and art make the world go around, make it all bearable. That is my thesis statement for Dennis Anyone, the podcast.
Was there anyone this year that you were super surprised that you got, that you were like, I cannot believe that I got this guest this year?
Gosh, I have not thought, let's see. Maybe this might have been last year, but I was really excited to talk to Dick DiBartolo, who worked for Mad Magazine and The Match Game. So, that ended up being a 2-part episode. I just interviewed Frank DeCaro, and not a tough get, frankly, because we know him.
Right.
But we celebrated all that is disco, and that was erotically charged, if you know what I'm saying. I should bring up my episodes and look back and think of who I talked to.
Yeah, we also had Frank on our show, and the hilarious thing was that Frank kept talking about people like Alonzo Duralde and Bruce Valanche, and I was just like, this is a very small gay world. These are all of the other gays that I know. And, Alonzo is the reason that you and I met, and it's just funny to me, the sort of circle of people that we are in, and I mean, everybody is so great, and I'm really thrilled that I am friends with you and all of these people, because these are some high quality gays around here.
Yeah.
Well, and also we're still here. I've come to believe, here's another of my beliefs, that still being here is the happy ending. Keeping going is the happy ending. Like the ship never came in, but you're still walking around. So there's that.
Our ship never came in? What are you saying?
No, your ship is there. I can see your ship. I'm part of your ship. I'm hanging off the side of your ship, waiting for my ship. But that might be it, and that's cool. That's fine. My arms are tired, sure, but I'm having fun. I'm doing things. And,
so what you're saying is the success we wanted ended up being the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, and I know that's heady stuff, and I know I get touchy-feely kind of on my podcast. I cry all the time, by the way. I don't know if you're listening to reporting that to you.
I did not know that about you.
No, things get intense sometimes, or very moving. I don't know. I'm a soft touch these days, and yeah. Oh shoot! I wish I need to look at my guests because I can tell you specific stories. I'm going to bring them up now.
Since you brought up crying, this reminds me of something when Bruce Valanche had his documentary Get Bruce.
Yeah.
And went to the premiere at the Egyptian Theater. And Sandy Gallen was sitting directly behind me with two of the hottest men I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, but Bruce did say, like, he got emotional at the documentary, and he said that at a certain age, you just break down all the time for no reason, like an old Buick. And so that's real true. Maybe that's what it is, Dennis. You're just breaking down like an old Buick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking back at some of the people that I've interviewed this year. I'm looking back. I had this actor named Brian Terrell Clark who was in the show called Diara from Detroit. And he has also been on Broadway and Hamilton and things like that. And he told this amazing story about he had a tough relationship with his father when he was growing up, and his father forgot to pick him up from school, and his school was a long way from home, and they locked the school, and he was just standing out there, and he heard this voice inside his head say, just walk. And he's African American, and he's in this kind of neighborhood that's white, and he feels like he's totally lost. And he would be like, okay, turn left. He would just have somebody telling him where to go. And he ended up at this house that he's never seen before. And he felt this thing say, go knock on the door. And he knocked on the door, and the person that answered it was his grandmother. And his grandmother was a home health care person and happened to be working in that house that day. I know. Like, it's like that stuff. And that's sort of why he has a certain kind of faith that sort of has been unshakable since then, because that was too coincidental in a way. But he told that more beautifully than I did. But I just think of exchanges like that are really, really rich and meaningful. And I get off these interviews and I'm like, man, that was awesome. Oh, another one, Carl Siciliano. He founded the LA Fournet House in New York City for homeless gay youth. And he talked about how B. Arthur, kind of saved the organization with this donation that he didn't know that they were getting after she passed away. Like, they were about to lose their leases. Like, it was really looking bleak. And he got this call that B. Arthur left them money in their will, and it was enough to keep them going, and it changed everything. So I just love stories like that. And this year I had a bunch of them. So It's been great. I know. And I had a guy named Abdi Nazemian on, who's a young adult author, and he wrote a great book that's set in the 80s and is all about people that love Madonna, and it's called Like a Love Story. But he deals with ACT UP and AIDS, and it's a way of teaching young people about the AIDS crisis and what it was like. But his book has been banned in a lot of places, and he talked about what that was like, and I think a lot of people go, well, that's, all publicity is good publicity. And he was like, no, it really affects you negatively to get banned, because the library is not buying your books. they're like, you used to go into schools and do readings and appearances, and that's kind of how you made money and stuff. And he goes, no, it's not fun to be banned. And I thought that was really interesting. And his work is really beautiful. So, yeah. I start breaking down like an old Buick. I have to remember that line. It's so good. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because it is, that's, that Bruce, he's very bright and insightful.
Right. Well, and I also find that when it happens during the podcast, at times I was like, you know what, I'll just tighten this up. I'll cut this out. And then when I listen to it, I'm like, first of all, it's not as bad. Not seeing it, it makes it not as bad. It's not as bad on audio. If I kind of, you're not seeing my face crack open. So I kind of leave it in,
Mm-hmm.
So, because I think, I don't know, it's real. And, I think I'm at a point where I have a mixture of like gratitude for what I've experienced and who I have in my life and what I get to do. And also I'm a little heartbroken because it's fucking hard. We don't all get to be Andy Cohen or Ryan Murphy. Not that they don't have their struggles.
Right.
But
well, I feel like this is something that sort of the combination of social media and the pandemic really brought into stark relief for people, because I think that the social media, so much of social media is sort of presenting a version of your life that is not necessarily accurate.
No.
But the people who do, because I've had friends who have been posted very openly in social media about like their relationship problems or grief or financial struggles and that kind of thing. And it is jarring to see in social media when it happens, because so much of what's being presented is, look how great this is, this delicious meal I had, this wonderful vacation, my abs, like all, it's all very positive facing. But I think that that can make people feel like, oh, everybody else's life is great but mine. But then when you see people posting, in a very real way about their struggles, it's weird to see. And, and it sometimes makes, I have to step back from my discomfort in it and say, no, people should be posting what's real, not what they want to project, because we need to see and understand real life and what real people are going through. It's the only way to get past it and get to the other side. But it can be jarring when you see it. So I think that it's easy to get caught up in the way that things are presented to us in a very positive way through social media, and it not sort of reflecting everyday life. And then the pandemic, with everybody sort of having to evaluate what's important to them, prioritizing what is important, because when you strip away the sort of the day-to-day of going to a job or whatever, or like going out to dinner, or seeing friends, going to movies, all that kind of stuff, you suddenly are faced with what your everyday life is without these other things. And, and it caused, all sorts of relationships to implode. People could not handle like being alone with each other for long stretches of time. Other people realized how much they hated their jobs because once they didn't have to go into an office anymore, it's just like, you know what? I hated being there. Or they hated their commute, or they hated where they lived, and they only lived there because it was close to their job and they didn't have to be there anymore. So I think that sort of reordered a lot of things for people. And I think we're still in this place of sort of discombobulation. But I think it's positive on the other side, because we're taking back the things that are the most important to us.
Right.
Friends, family, the things that we really care about that are the most important to us. And people are making new choices based on, new priorities, which I think will, in the long run, be better for people.
Well, I sort of look at social media sometimes and think, oh, this is just marketing, but it's marketing for people.
Right.
And so when something on my podcast happens that kind of cracks that open a little bit, I really love that. I find it really meaningful, and I lean in when I'm doing the interviews. And my current episode that just dropped this week is with an actor named Emerson Collins, who's doing the show Buyer and Seller right now in Los Angeles. And he produces with Belshore, so they're partners in business, and they're always up to doing things. He's a real hustler. But he finished like this tour with the Sordid Lives movie, came back to LA, and had to start driving for Lyft. And he talked about getting the audition for Rent the Musical live on Fox while he was driving for Lyft, and then going to the audition and feeling like, oh gosh, these are all Broadway people. I'm never gonna get this. But he got it, and he found out he got it while he was driving for Lyft. And so there was somebody in his back seat who was also a performer who kind of understood it. I think they had just come out here for some diversity showcase or something, and they were just screaming in the Lyft that Emerson booked this big part, on this big, TV network musical. And but it's those moments where, yeah, that's probably not something you saw on social media. You saw that you got to be on Rent, and so I love when you're able to see behind the sheen of what we all present in our social media. So stuff like that. Oh, the other thing that happened this year on my podcast, it was my 10th anniversary of Dead If Anyone.
That's huge.
I know, 10 years. I can't believe it. And all the episodes, it was a time to sort of reflect. And I looked at it and I'm like, that's a ton of work. But It didn't feel like work. I mean, it was. And I'm not saying it didn't not feel like it at all, but it didn't feel like that. 10 years of like the number of episodes and all that. I just think of all the cool conversations I got to have and how meaningful it is to me. And my friend Robert Chandler, who has been a longtime listener, and I'm kind of friends with him because of the podcast. That's kind of how he and I got to know each other. We flipped the script and he interviewed me. And yes, of course I cried, because that's the way it is. At one point, it was interesting to hit that landmark. It felt like I was something I was really proud of, that I've kept it going.
I mean, that is, it's interesting because everyone wants to have a podcast, right? This is like the thing of now. There's all these people who want to have a podcast, but it really is about who can actually stick with it. Like, so many podcasts start and then they stop and then they just disappear, or they do like a single season and then they don't have what it takes to just stick around and actually continue to push forward. So I think that stick-to-itness is actually, a really important part of measuring success with a podcast, because there's a lot of shows that can't do it.
I mean, it hasn't made me, money-wise, it hasn't been that big of a deal. But I get to have conversations with people that I've admired, or I'll find out about this cool show and I'll go see it. And it's a way of sort of being relevant in a way. And it keeps me connected with things that are going on. And, there'll be things that come out of it that I'm like, oh, that wouldn't have happened without the podcast. So That's been really, really cool too. And ever since I signed up and joined with you guys, my sound quality got better. Like, I took a step up, so that's cool. When I first started, it was me and Tony on the comedy couch, my roommate Tony Tripoli at the time, and one of us would be in the left ear and one of us would be in the right ear for years. I didn't know, because I didn't know how to change it. And also at that time, it really was just a lark. Nobody thought of podcasting as a business,
right?
And I look back at those episodes, and we were really fun together. And I think, wow, we could have, we didn't really know what we had, But yeah, that if you go on my feed, those episodes are all at the beginning. It's been the same feed since 2009, something like that.
Wow.
Dennis, it's the 90s.
Crazy. I know. I feel like the 90s. I don't know. Time is confusing. Like last night, I said to some friends, I'm like, doesn't it feel like we just came out of the pandemic? No, that was 3 years ago. Like,
right.
I don't know.
I feel like we're still coming out of the pandemic.
I know, but we've had some time. Like, so time is weird. But, you just keep trudging on.
Yeah, it has definitely disrupted our sense of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this a lot on our show about various things like dealing with social media or the rise of artificial intelligence or sex robots or whatever else, and how I feel like people who have more life experience, like the working entirely from home, that kind of thing. People who've had years of experience of working in an office and connecting with people, it's easier for them to work from home and connect with people just over Zoom and whatever, because they already know how to interact with people. But I feel like younger people who have not had a lot of these kinds of life experiences don't know how to handle social media, don't know how to handle working remotely, don't know how to handle, won't be able to handle artificial intelligence or, any of these things in the same way. But I also worry about their ability to have a sense of time, like what time is, and like how time works, how we have structured so much of our lives around time. And that now that, people who are older are feeling out of time, I can't even imagine how younger people feel of never having to have experienced the structure of time. And, sort of what the ramifications will be for them. I don't know. Maybe it'll be positive. Maybe not having a world structured around time will be good. The word schedule, it's an old French word. And that's not how it's pronounced. The original pronunciation was schedule. But when they started having trains in the 1800s, they needed a word for the timetables for when trains were arriving. But there wasn't a living person who had ever used the word schedule out loud. So they didn't know how it was pronounced.
Oh, wow.
But the idea of sort of regimented time in that way really only came about because of trains, and then eventually, we needed time zones and all that kind of stuff. But before that, people did not have a sense of time. It was like, well, the sun's setting or the sun's up. Like they didn't, the sundial would tell them roughly what time it was, but people just sort of arrived when they arrived and left when they left. And people had a very different relationship to time than we have now. So maybe of all the things we've let go of, maybe if we let go of time, it'll be okay. But if you're feeling disconnected from time, you're definitely not the only one.
Mariah Carey let go of time. If you read her book, which is excellent, she talked about how she doesn't think about time as a thing. So, yeah.
So are you saying we should be more like Mariah Carey?
What's that?
I said, should we be more like Mariah Carey?
Well, she's still here. Yes, we should. Why not?
I mean, she is the princess of Christmas, after all.
You know what? I love that song. And if you told me this Christmas we could either have no Santa or we'd have to have no Mariah song, I'd say, bye, Santa. It's been nice knowing you.
You would choose Mariah Carey's Christmas song over Santa Claus?
Yes, I would. I would.
What?
That song is just, it's undeniable. It's like heroin. It's like, I went to a singing class and it was a Christmas themed. And about, 3/4 of the way through it, you could see everybody's faces like, she hasn't played the fucking song yet. And finally at one point she was like, it's coming, don't worry. Like, I don't even think words were spoken. She just like,
she could feel the room shifting on her.
Yeah. Yes, I really feel like it's like I don't know. A Christmas without that song would be like, I don't. That's not something I want to think about.
Are there any other Christmas songs that you feel that strongly about?
No, but I will say this: Cher has a great Christmas song that came out last year that she was lip syncing all over the place.
Yes,
and it's catchy as hell. DJ played that Christmas song.
Yep, and
it's absurd because it's about Cher wanting to go to a dance club on Christmas. like it's the story of it is like, Cher, she's got a house in Malibu, but she really wants to go out dancing at a club.
For Christmas, of course. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? But it's so catchy, and I love it. So that's a new addition to the Christmas canon, and that one that will stick. I feel like it has legs, like that Kelly Clarkson that has that song that had some legs, underneath the tree, I think. So, but they're all trying. No one's ever gonna capture the Mariah thing.
Well, that does seem like the bar that she has set, and it's pretty high. And I agree. I think it would be very hard to knock her off that throne.
Well, yeah. I think that we like, obviously the unifying theme of Christmas is Jesus, but I think that we just in general we like a living embodiment of the holiday season, and obviously, like, Jesus Christ, Santa Claus. We've had these figures who are sort of directly at the center of Christmas.
And now it's Mariah Carey.
Well, no, but I think, going back to like Bing Crosby and White Christmas, well, Bing Crosby was alive for 30 years. He was Christmas. Like that song, White Christmas, was Christmas. Just like for the longest time, New Year's Eve was Guy Lombardo until he died, and then it was Dick Clark, and now he's dead. And so I think that, generationally, we like to have figures around the Christmas, New Year's thing that we sort of rally around as the living embodiment of the season for us in a cultural sense. And I think that Mariah Carey, there was a bit of a vacuum, and Mariah Carey got into it and will dominate it, I think, the way that these other figures have in the past until she dies. Like, I think Mariah Carey is going to be the Princess of Christmas for 20 years.
Yeah. And she, and if she doesn't feel like working the rest of the year, that's fine. She's like,
she doesn't have to.
Yeah. It's great. It's smart.
How much money do we think that song has made her?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It took a while to become the song, the phenomenon that it was. It wasn't, right. When it came out, it was around, but it didn't become a thing. I think it was used in Love Actually. Is that right? Anyway,
that might be right.
It blew up years after it was originally released. But yeah, so it's good.
I mean, it's a great song. You got to give her credit. It is a great song.
She is a named songwriter on that song, and that's where all that fucking money is.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Good for her, though.
And the guy she co-wrote it with, who I'm sure just sleeps on a pile of money.
Oh, man, I wish I had that kind of money.
I mean,
that would be my kind of Christmas. Oh, just give me that kind of money.
Yeah. It would be good.
It would be good. It would be good. All right, so we know you can't live without Mariah Carey for the holidays.
Just that song, like I wouldn't say I'm even a lamb, but I do like her enough. But I do think there's something about that song that's like heroin. And I haven't tried heroin, so I'm guessing, but yeah.
Okay, all right. So about the holiday, where do you typically just spend the holidays there in Los Angeles, or do you go anywhere special for the holidays?
Once in a while, I will go somewhere if I feel like I can afford it. Like there were a couple of years I went to Europe, and I would fly on Christmas, which is kind of awesome.
Oh no, flying on Christmas is an amazing day to fly.
Except for the people who work Christmas.
It's like you just everything's easy. So maybe you have a Christmas breakfast thing in the morning, and then you're on a plane at like 8 at night, and you're flying to Europe. I remember once landing in Rome. And it might have been the day after Christmas when I was walking around. I don't know anything that's going on. I don't really have an agenda. And I go to the Spanish Steps, and there's this beautiful opera concert there, open air. And I just remember thinking, oh, this is amazing. Because I had no idea it was there. And I just was by myself enjoying some opera on the Spanish Steps with the beauty of Christmas all around. So that was awesome.
I mean, that does sound
but
pretty
a lot
awesome.
of times I'm here.
Now,
Yeah, a lot of times I'm in LA.
Is it hard to spend Christmas in LA because there's no snow? It's not even cold. I've only ever spent Christmas in cold places. I've never spent Christmas in a warm place. I don't even know what I would do.
Well, here's what happens. There's lots of like parties and things leading up to it.
Yeah.
And then if you're a single person, Christmas Day could happen and you could literally have nothing going on. So you have to figure some stuff out. So I started having breakfast with like friends that are sort of, orphan friends like myself. So that became like a tradition. And then we would go to a movie. But the thing was, we had already used up all the really good holiday movies. And so it would be some weird random movie like The Guilt Trip with Barbra Streisand and Seth Rogen. Like I can remember, like the Christmas Day movies are always like a few rungs down from The Wicked or whatever the big movie is.
It's true.
Yeah, like there was some Gwyneth Paltrow one a few years ago. Like just like randos. But then like one of the other traditions I do is I get my dog a Frappuccino from Starbucks in the afternoon. That's a Christmas Day tradition.
What?
I think now that I'm saying it out loud, it sounds very sad. But because there's usually a Starbucks open, and so that's the thing that happens. But a lot of my favorite traditions happen before Christmas or after.
So, are you a Christmas present person? Like, do you love presents or no?
Not that into it, and I find that the older that I get,
The less you care.
I'm less into it, and yeah, I'm not. And when I was a kid, my mom didn't like to open presents. Like it would be Christmas night, and you would finally bring her present, and she would kind of open it. Like you could tell it wasn't something she enjoyed, and she was nice about it. It wasn't anything, but I understand it now. I get it. I understand that now. I don't love to get them. I like it, I guess. It's nice, but there's a part of me that's like, I don't know what it is. Maybe I just don't. I don't know. Maybe it truly is better to give than to receive. But I noticed that when I was a kid with my mom, and I never really understood it, and now I kind of do. But yeah, you guys like presents because
Derek hates them. I love them. Derek is the absolute opposite. He hates presents.
I know that we've been taught in history that the Trojan horse was some kind of shocking twist ending that like, oh, they thought they were getting a good gift, but then it turned out it was a bad gift. No, I believe all gifts are an act of hostility. And it is why I'm against gifts now.
Gifts across the board are an act of hostility. So the giver wants something from the other person or wants to hurt them or what?
Or it's just a form of judgment. Oh, I hate how you dress. Here's a sweater I like.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's so weird that that's how you take shit.
Well.
Yeah. I find as I get older, I'm less enamored of stuff generally. Like when I first moved to LA, I would go to the Rose Bowl flea market, and it was so much fun. It was like my favorite thing, and you'd find bargains and cool vintage clothes and things for the house and whatever. I went there earlier this year, and I'm like, what a bunch of shit. Like, I really almost had contempt for it. Like, I couldn't, like, I just couldn't even be around it. So I think maybe if I guess I had a bigger place and more room to decorate or whatever, I'd be into it. But I think as you get older, you're like, I don't need all this stuff. And I'm finding that with my friends that collect things that like, oh, we have every action figure of everything. And then there was a certain point where they're like, oh, I don't know if I need this stuff anymore. I don't know. It's interesting. I think that maybe that's a normal thing as you get older, that like stuff isn't like as meaningful as it once was, or you feel the need to sort of get rid of things. I don't know.
Well, I think that there are some things that are important to you, but I think when you're younger, it's because so much of being young is trying new things. Oh, I'm going to try a new restaurant. Oh, I've never had Indian food before. This looks fun. Oh, I've never been to whatever, Brazil or Paris. Well, let me try this. I mean, when you're young, oh, he's cute. I'll date him. I'll ignore the red flags. You never know. But as you get older and you have more experience, you realize, you know what? I went to Paris and I didn't love it that much. It was overrated. I'm not going back. I really don't like what Indian food does to me. I'm not having that anymore. So as you get older, you start selecting out of a lot of things. Yeah. And but I also think that some of the things you collect along the way, you will start to have second thoughts of like, why did I ever think it would be fun to collect X, Y, or Z? Or why do I have all this stuff in my house that I have to dust and move? And so I think that what you're interested in narrows as you get older.
Yes.
And then that means also your interest in the things that you own narrow, because you realize I've got all this stuff and I never use it. I never touch it. It's here. Why do I still have it?
Right.
And then that Marie Kondo came in and was like, look around. If it doesn't spark joy, and everyone's like, I got to throw out my husband and half of my furniture.
I know. It's true. But one of my favorite holiday traditions actually happens after the holidays, and the person involved. So a few years ago, me and Tom Goss started having dream board parties in early January to create dream boards for the coming year. I know.
Oh my God, that is so fun, actually.
Oh, I love it. I'm a huge believer in it. I find it a really great tool and fun and creative, and it inspires me a lot. And it inspires me to go for things and not flumper around when something's a possibility. Because I put that on my dream board. I have to go.
Right.
I don't know. You know what I mean? It removes a lot of the hemming and hawing when it looks like an opportunity could happen. You're like, yes, I've already decided. Anyway, but Tom has this cool studio in LA, and we get tables and people and Tom, and it sets the tone for the new year. And that's one of my favorite holiday traditions, even though it happens in January. So, and then people talk about what they want to do, and they, it's a little show and tell moment.
Right.
Snacks. It's cute. And Tom Goss is one of my favorite people. So
I love Tom. He's so fun.
It's our thing. Yeah. So you guys know that guy.
So a dream board, that is really, when I think of a dream board, I don't think of Dennis Hensley, but from now on, I'm going to. And I love that you do that.
I'm out of control with it. If I told you the full story around it, I will do more of them in the year. Like when Kamala took over for the nominee.
Yeah.
I had to do an annex, like a part 2 with some imagery around that stuff and other things that I wanted to do. But
that's amazing.
Yeah. And a lot of times I will look at them and I'm like, well, that happened and that happened, or that happened in this way that I don't know. I find it's a way of being excited about your life.
Right.
When there's no stakes. When these things are not on the table, but it's just a craft. So there's no stakes, But then something unfolds during the year, and you're like, I just found out there's a small chance I might get to go see the Eras tour in Vancouver. Waiting to hear might happen.
Oh my God! If you get to go see the Eras tour, I will be so happy for you. Because how exciting would that be?
I know, and that's been on my dream board forever. And I was like, well, I did see it opening night when the movie came out, so that kind of counts. But it's still a dream that has a sliver of a chance of happening, possibly in Vancouver. We will see.
I hope it does.
But yeah, I don't know. And here's my dream board secret. It's not, you put something on it that's a real easy one, and I'm going to tell you 2 stories.
Okay.
That are easy, that are local. There is a place in LA called the Last Bookstore. It's in downtown LA, and it's this big bookstore, and they have these cool kind of things that always show up on Instagram, which is like this display which books are in a circle and people always take their picture in it, and this wall that's full of books that looks like a big wave crashing, and it's just a cool place. And I was like, I always wanted to go there. So I put it on my dream board because I knew, you know what? I just have to get in the car. That's pretty much all I used to do.
Sure.
But I put it on there, and then the pandemic happened, and everything was shut down. So
then you couldn't go.
The last day, I think it was the last day of 2021. I said to my friends Glenn and Danny, I was like, do you want to go to the Last Bookstore with me? It's on my dream board. It's open again, and I can make a dream come true on the last day of the year, whatever. So we go there, and it's fun. We have lunch. The bookstore's fun. We shop around, whatever. But they have all of these old 45, like 45 RPM records. And in 1989, when I bought my condo, I bought an old jukebox through the recycler, which is like the penny saver newspaper. And it worked for like a year, and then it broke. And I kept it in my garage because it was cool, but it never worked again. And I saw those 45 in that last bookstore on December 31st, and I thought, I'm going to try to get it fixed. Because I've tried throughout the years, but I can never find anybody. So I came home and I typed in Jukebox Repair Los Angeles. This new website came up. This guy that was local, I call him up or reach out to him. He gets back to me within a day, and he's going to be in my neighborhood the next day, and he has at home the same model jukebox that I have. And so within a week, I had my jukebox fixed. And I've been having a blast with it ever since, with buying 45s and dance parties and the whole thing. And it all happened because the last bookstore was on my dream board. That's it.
I mean, that's a great story. That's a really wonderful story.
I know, right. But it was these sort of like little chains of positive effort or trying or whatever. I don't know. I find it. The other thing is this: like, there were two people. One was I started up a conversation one time with a woman at the post office about how I love chips and salsa. I don't know how it came up. And she's like, have you been to Salsa and Beer? And I was like, no. It's a local restaurant in Los Angeles. There's like 5 of them kind of in the Deep Valley. And I had heard somebody else talk about it. She's like, they bring you bean dip or whatever with it. So I put Salsa and Beer on my dream board. It's literally a half a mile from my house. Literally. So I'm like, now it's a dream. Someday I'm going to do this. So one night, my friend Danny and I and my roommate Hensley, we were shopping for Mismatch, and I'm like, you guys, we're going to go to Salsa and Beer because it's on my dream board. So we go there. It's enchanting. Like, the inside is so crazy and different, and the food's amazing. And because it had a heightened sort of like, look at, we're doing it. Like, it felt more fun. And I go there sometimes, and every time I do, I think, oh, this is a dream come true. And it I don't know, it makes, like, it delights me. And it makes things, and I think it's delicious, and maybe it's not that delicious, but I've imbued it with deliciousness because of my imagination, you know?
That's amazing.
And those are the little dumb ones. And then, you know, maybe I'll be at Taylor Swift. I don't know. So I will say this, though. They're not foolproof. Jonathan Groff has not proposed. So
that's because he's Derek's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Derek, is your boyfriend Jonathan Groff?
I'm first in line. Let me tell you something. So we had him on our show a long time ago.
Oh.
And he was great. And I, like many gay men, have a massive crush on him. And the fact that apparently he is into older guys only makes me more interested. Anyway. But we had him on the show, and we took pictures together. And the writer, Christopher Rice, also has a huge crush on Jonathan Groff. And so every Valentine's Day, I post a picture of the two of us together saying, Happy Valentine's Day from the Groff Hartleys. And just because, like, this is why, like, I have 3 friends in the world. And this is why, like, I'm a horrible person. Anyway, because the bit is, I'm more committed to the bit than I am to friendship. Anyway, but when we had him there in the studio and we were taking pictures and he started singing and he tried to get me to duet with him. And I'm a horrible singer. Like, I cannot sing. As you know, sang your birthday party once. I'm a horrible singer. But the thing was, I was like, I have to play this like Ariel. He needs to fall in love with me without hearing my voice, because the only way this is going to work. So I wouldn't sing with him. But I think he thought I was like, I don't know, rejecting him. But he clearly is interested in somebody who will sing with him. So my advice to you, if you would like Jonathan Groff to fall in love with you, is prepare your best 8 bars and be ready.
Yeah, I'll sing with him. Yeah, I'll do it.
I bet you would.
I mean, the fact that he dated Gavin Creel, I can't even imagine what like songbirds the two of them were inside their apartment.
I know. I mean, like the two of them, and I just thought of Jonathan when Gavin passed. Like, oh man, what a loss. But here's the way it'll tie everything together. So Jonathan Groff is coming out in a movie called, I think it's called A Nice Indian Boy, and it's a romantic gay story, and his character falls in love with a man of Indian descent, and it's been on my radar for a while, and it's on my dream board, and I saw that they played New Fest somewhere. Long story short, I reached out to the director on Instagram, and he's going to do my podcast in the new year when the movie's going to get a wider release. So I probably might not have messaged him if I didn't already have that kind of in my imagination as like a thing. So there's that. It's,
okay.
There's little dots that get connected.
Yeah.
Weird craft for me.
You're only one step away.
I mean, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. So,
well, I think
this.
If I can't have Jonathan Groff, I would like somebody that I know and am friends with to have him.
How
so whether
of
it's
you, Derek.
you or Christopher Rice or me, you know,
Okay.
I'm happy. Whoever gets Jonathan Groff, as long as it's somebody I know and like.
I know.
That's so ridiculous.
Look, I know high quality people. Jonathan Groff would be very happy with Dennis. Jonathan Groff would be very happy with Christopher Rice, or he'd be moderately happy with me, I guess, for a little bit.
He would be delighted with you.
No, I would have to pretend to be a different person.
Yeah.
And once I got exhausted from that, then it would be all over. But I would put up a good front for a while. I do at least 500 performances, 8 shows a week. But at a certain point, I'd be like, I got to get out of this show.
Yeah.
Also, I can't sing. I really think that it would end up being a deal breaker for him that I would not be participating in our sing-alongs.
Oh, well, I don't know. I wanted to see Marilyn roll along. That was on my dream board. Didn't make it happen. Didn't get to New York. But I've heard that they made a really good video that's going to be somewhere. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, this Broadway HD program that they started doing, I don't even remember, 20, 25 years ago, is going to be, it's going to be the greatest thing for people 30 years from now. Because one of the worst things about Broadway of the past is you hear about these legendary performances,
you
but
never get to see them.
Unless one of the stars performed on the Tony Awards or something, you don't have it. But they started maybe 20, 25 years ago filming, doing a high quality, high def film of the various Broadway shows with the original Broadway cast. And I was at the taping of the one for Book of Mormon.
Wow. I didn't know they did a Book of Mormon one. Has it been released?
My friend, no, it hasn't been released, but my friend Terry Goldman was working for Scott Rudin at the time, briefly. Okay. And he got me in, and it was all Book of Mormon super fans. It was all people who had seen the show at least 20 times or something. And I was sitting next to one of the cameras, on the aisle next to one of the camera operators. And I was chatting with her, and I told her how I hadn't seen the show. I was the only one there who had, I think Mike was with me, and we were the only ones who had never seen the show, who were in the audience. But I told her, I was like, oh, I grew up in Utah. My dad was Mormon. And she was got on the headset and let the other people who were running the cameras and everything, oh my God, there's somebody from Utah who knows Mormons who's actually here. They were all excited because they wanted to know what I thought of the show. Because obviously they had seen it a lot because they were going to be filming it. And so they were very curious of how much I was going to cackle. And I just absolutely fucking roared. But I have not seen it. So it's in a can somewhere, and it will pop out.
Right. Was it with the original cast? Was it Andrew Rannells and Josh Gad?
Yes.
Damn. That needs to come out.
Yeah, so sometimes they make a deal, and the Broadway HD version of a show will be on PBS and great performances and that kind of thing. And so some of them are already out there, and you can see them on PBS and people can watch them. But I am sure some of them, like Book of Mormon, because it's still running on Broadway, so they're not going to release it until the Broadway run ends, and God only knows when that's going to be because it's still selling out.
Well, I love the Newsies one that's on Disney Plus, and I saw that in the theater, and I love the Hamiltons.
Yeah.
They did an amazing job with those. I love them. Yeah. So I always put shows on my dream board that I want to see. Like Kimberly Akimbo is finally coming to LA. I think it's here now, and I'm going to see it next week. And it's on my dream board. So
nice.
It's going to have a little extra juice when I walk in there, because I'm like, oh, I did it. Like, I don't know. There's a feeling of like, I did this. I made it happen. That's amazing.
I love this idea of this dream board that you do at the beginning of the year. I think it's really fascinating.
I love this too.
Well, I could point to a million things on it. Like, I don't know. It's strangely, it's not things like there's an Emmy. Or like, I don't put things like that are sort of like a nice house, or like it's more like, I don't know, things that I feel are a little more specific and more attainable. But like Mexico City was on there for years. Like, and I wanted to go. And I would just Google image cool pictures of Mexico City. And so when I got there in 2023, I'm like, oh, there's that monument. I've looked at that picture for 5 years over my toilet. And it's here. And the whole trip was more fun, more meaningful, because I had dreamed about it, or envisioned it, or fantasized about it, or daydreamed about it, you know?
Yeah.
Going to the Frida Kahlo house. So you don't walk in with something like, this better be good. You walk in like, oh my God, it's happening. Wow. You know? And that's been really cool. I like it. It's like little breadcrumbs that you throw up ahead, I guess.
I think that's an amazing holiday tradition that you've started with Tom. I find it actually very inspirational.
It's a gift you can give yourself.
Tom was talking about Barcelona. Like, he loves Barcelona. He wanted to spend time in Barcelona. He's got a place there now, I think, recently. He and his husband were looking into it. I'm not sure what the latest is, but like, I remember when that was a picture.
Right. And
I think that's a thing now. Anyway. And it's fun. I like the social part. I like the crafting. I love a collage. I like the paste, the glue sticks. But I don't go through magazines and look for shit. I think about what I want, and then I Google image it, and then I create documents, and I print it out and cut it up. So I don't want to be summoned through magazines looking for, I don't know. I like a Google image forethought. Or if I see things on social media throughout the year, I'll do a screen grab on my phone.
Yeah.
And then save it to my photos and then incorporate it. It's a lot. It's a little bit like, oh, calm down. but I find it fun and meaningful.
I love that.
And yeah.
That's incredible. Good. That's actually really incredible.
Cool.
I love that.
It's been cool. I'm into it.
All right. So we're near the end here, and I feel like we should have some solid holiday pick things here. So let's talk about holiday movie and TV traditions for you. Do you have go-to holiday TV specials or go-to holiday movies that you always make a point to watch at the end of the year?
Well, I would tell you what I did last year, which is my new favorite place in LA is called Vidius, and it's a Revival House movie theater that opened last year, and they showed Die Hard. And I hadn't seen it in a long time, but I know it's a holiday kind of movie, and I think they went on Christmas Eve. So like, that was really cool. So I think I'll see what they're up to over there, because they're very interactive with their movie watching. Like during Dirty Dancing, there were actual dancers that came in with watermelons. We saw Magic Mike XXL there in July, and they gave out fake dollars to throw at the screen and stuff. So it's just a very fun place. So I'm sure I'll be going there and seeing whatever their Christmas offerings are. I like the movie Love Actually, but I remember the first time I saw it, I was with somebody that I had dated for a brief period of time. I was in love with them. They were not into it. That is not the movie to go see when you're in that situation. It was so, oh my God, I could think about it. I could picture it now, but it holds up. Like it's still fun. I like The Best Man Holiday. I like those movies. And here's a fun Hallmarky thing coming up. There's a Christmas movie coming up on Netflix with, the guy from One Tree Hill, the blonde. What's his name?
Michael Murray.
Thank you, Derek, for knowing that. I knew you would. So he's in it, and it becomes like a stripper Full Monty thing.
Oh,
so
right.
They have to save the town, so they do a small town Full Monty thing. Well, my friend Mark Samuel, who is an actor from the Mismatch Game, he plays Morgan Freeman. He is in that movie, and he's one of the dancing friends that do the half Monty or whatever. But he's going to be on my podcast to talk about it. So that's going to be my new Hallmark tradition. Is this gay stripper? Well, it's not gay, but a stripper movie. It's gay when I watch it.
Right.
It's going to be the Chad Michael Murray half Monty holiday Christmas Netflix hybrid. And my roommate does love the Hallmark Christmas movies, so we have them on like wallpaper. And what I love is there's literally no conflict in them. There's none. And
I don't know how you
my
can
other
watch
favorite
those things.
thing is there's always the mom that says, "Oh, I've barely started decorating," near the beginning of the movie. Meanwhile, behind her is at least 7 trees decorated in the house. But she's just getting started. She's just getting started. So I kind of love them because they're so comfortable and the pretty people, and it's just like
I mean, my thing about these Christmas movies is, where do they store all this shit? Like, usually these people have reasonably big houses and everything, but I just think, do you have a storage unit where your 50 Christmas trees live? Do you never park your car in the garage because it's floor to rafter full of Christmas? Like, where does all this stuff go?
And that's exactly what it is, Derek. It's like every attic is jam-packed with no space. Like, who needs insulation when you have Christmas?
That's true.
Then their garage, you can't get into. There's no cars parked in their garage. It's all Christmas shit. It's like these people. I don't know if it's happening out in L.A., but on the East Coast during the Halloween season now, these gigantic skeletons are all the rage, and they're like 15 feet tall or 20 feet tall. And I just think, where the fuck do you store that giant thing? And some people have like 4 of them.
I don't know what they are, but I love that stuff. I love when people go all out with decoration. I find it like hopeful for the future. Like, oh, they haven't given up. They're staying life. I think I don't know. I like it. I don't do it that much because
you've given up.
My places, I have given up, and also my place is a condo, so it's like we don't really have like that much license to do different things. But we do. I have a tree. We put up a tree.
Now, question about your tree.
And all that stuff.
When does the tree go up, and when does it come down?
I feel like it has to make it through New Year's.
Okay.
But not long after. And I think first week of December, first or second week of December.
All right.
Because you want it up a long time. You want it up when you're watching those movies. So there's the twinkling, there's the tree in the room, and then there's the tree on the screen. That's the move. And this year, my roommate found this online company that makes ornaments, but there's these dog ornaments, and they look exactly like my dog. Somehow, so it looks almost like you sent him a picture and said, customize your ornament, but we didn't. They just look like him. So she bought a bunch of Enzo ornaments, and so we're going to have a little tree that's all Enzo this year. And he couldn't be less grateful. He doesn't give a fuck. Anyway, but that'll be fun. Oh, my other tradition is I make candles. I learned to make candles during the pandemic. So
what?
I sometimes give out Christmas candles. My friend Doug Crisavali taught me. And I go over to his house like in November, and we have a candle making day. And mostly he does it, and I help, but it's our thing. And I found the fragrance that I love, and occasionally I'll go to my friend's house and see the Christmas candle I gave them last year unburned, and I'm like, is it because it means too much to them that they can't burn it, or they tried it and they're like, this no, this isn't good. But I've become that guy.
I think an unburned candle is one that you want to cherish and you don't want to ruin it by burning it. Like you don't want it to go away. I think that's why you don't burn a candle.
Yeah. Oh, also, hey, we're doing the mismatch game on the 21st. It's our Plaid Tidings edition.
Oh, nice.
That's the Christmas edition. Yeah.
That's very fun.
December 21st. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No kids, but still Christmas.
I mean, Christmas is for all ages, don't you know?
Yeah. I'm into it.
Except our show, which is not for all ages.
No.
But Dennis, you're timeless. You're for every age, and we're glad that you spent some time here at the end of the year.
Yes. It's been my pleasure. I love talking to you guys always. I just think of all the years and all the good times.
We've had a lot of good times.
I have to say, you're one of the best gifts Derek has ever given me. Because I met you through Derek, and I absolutely adore you, and you're one of the people that I'm the most thankful that Derek has introduced me to.
Oh, and vice versa. Let's just cut him out of the equation, Romaine.
Okay. Bye, Derek. Derek who? Huh?
No, we have to have Derek.
Yes. He's the glue that keeps us together.
He really is.
He is the glue. Ugh. And he makes sense of it all.
He does.
He weighs in with wisdom.
Yeah, he's a sticky mess. Okay. Our thanks to Dennis Hensley for being with us. Happy holidays, everybody. Be sure to check out the Dennis Anyone podcast. New episodes are on Tuesdays, and you can use your DNR Plus subscription to check out the show. Upgrade or subscribe at dnrstudios.com today. And you can check out the Dennis Anyone podcast on the web, DennisAnyone.net, and Hensley Dennis on Twitter X, and Dennis C. for Christmas, Hensley on Instagram. Dennis, happy holidays.
Love you guys. Thank you for having me.
Love you too, Den. I'll see you at the old lady birthday house. Okay.
The old lady birthday house was like 20 years ago joke. So imagine how much older it is now.
Okay.
Yeah. My niece, I feel like I should remind her of when she had her meltdown that she didn't get to go to the old lady birthday house. Yeah, think about how much older we are now from the old lady birthday house.
Another aside, and then I'm going to leave you with this thought. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram that I kind of know from LA who does like sex stuff online, and he's of a certain age, and he was like going to have old man. He called it old man sex with another content creator, and both of them are 5 years younger than me.
Ouch.
I'm not putting that on my wish board. Thank you.
No, not going on the dream board. All right.
No. Going on the nightmare board. All right.
Ow. All right.
Wow. Happy holidays, Dennis Hensley, and happy holidays, everybody, here on Derek and Romaine.
All right. Bye.
Here at the DNR Studios, we want to thank you for the gift of your support throughout the year.
Without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you for cruising with us, subscribing to the DNR Studios network of shows, and shopping at the DNR shop.
We look forward to another exciting year ahead, and we hope to keep you smiling and laughing along with us.
Happy holidays and a happy new year from everyone here at DNR.